Round number 2 of the GT Cup Open Europe, getting ready to go racing here from the Ricard circuit in France. Beautiful conditions to go racing in this. Thank you very much for joining us. My name's Chris McCarthy, an absolute pleasure to be here once again to talk you through the action this afternoon. Well, the drivers were out qualifying yesterday, and that has set the grid for the race today. Busy schedule for us here at Ricard this weekend, so the guys were out yesterday to put their laps in, and that has set the grid for the race today. Cars just making their way round to the grid at the moment, and there you can see the grid is warming up, getting ready to go. Well, we do have some new entries to talk about. A couple of new teams are coming along, so we're up to 11 cars on the grid. That's how many are going to take place today. But that is going to be the car that is going to lead us away. A pretty surprise result, really. And our team on pole position, Manuel Cerceda, who is in the car. He put the car on pole position. He's going to be joined by Daniel Diaz Varela in that car. Why is it surprise result? Well, they were 4th and 6th at the first round in the Audi R8, and now we get here to round number 2. They have put that car on pole position. Joining him on the front row will be the number 15. There you can see the number 99 working its way around. That is the Sports U car. Antonio Coimbra is going to be in that at the start. Luis Silva will start alongside. You can see Louis Silva just making his way up. That is the car which Nicky Luttweiler is going to be in with Baz Schuten. They're going to start from 5th place for this one. So what happened at the first round? Well, pretty interesting racing, and the top 3 only split by 1 point in terms of the championship. The race wins went to Jean Font and Aldo Vestante. Then we have our podium finishes overall. But let's go through the grid. We start with Manuel Cerceda. Manuel Cerceda, who is going to start this one from pole position, the Andorran driver, racing alongside Daniel Diaz Varela, and this his first pole position in the championship. Alongside him, it's one of the new entries for this one, the NM Racing team of Rafael Villanueva, the 19-year-old from Madrid, has been racing in the Spanish F4 Championship for the last 2 seasons, and Rafael now putting it on pole position, Spanish F4 here with us. Then we come to Aldo Vestante, took the race win, the second of the race wins at round number 1, did the 20-year-old, also racing in the Porsche Carrera Cup Italia, currently sitting 6th in that and doing very well here in a battle for the championship is the Euroformula Open graduate. Antonio Coimbra is then next along in 4th place. Antonio Coimbra, who 59 years old now, is Antonio Coimbra, is actually a champion of the International GT Open, which we of course the support series for in GT Cup Open Europe. Then we come to Nicky Luttweiler next, the 59-year-old. Great to see Nicky Luttweiler here, actually won the championship in the AM category last year. Luttweiler. Here's a little look at what happened at round number 1. Aldo Vestante led us there. You can see Manuel Cerceda in that blue and white Audi R8. That was the moment the number 26 Trans Am car got beached into the gravel. Stragus. This was a good little battle going on between Manuel Cerceda and the Aston Martins. Out front, though, it was the number 13 of Jean Font who came away best through the pit stops, and Jean Font took the win. Jean Font, one of the drivers racing solo. Then we went racing once again the next day, once again being led off by Aldo Vestante. This time Aldo Vestante doing a bit of a better job to hold on to his lead. Some fantastic racing up and down the order as the drivers here just working their way down the field. That was the Trans Am car gaining a place on the number 99 you see there, which will be on row number 2 this time. This was another move the Trans Am car made, perhaps the best of the weekend, to work its way through to an eventual 4th place finish. But out front, it was Over Stante who took pole position. Nicky Luttweiler's team to the left of screen, and Manuel Cerceda there we saw he was also there as well. But it was the same 3 podium finishers over both races. So Over Stante, Jean Font and Nicky Luttweiler. GT Cup Open Europe round number 2 getting underway in just 1 minute's time now. Let's run through the grid for you before they set off for the formation lap. On pole position, it's going to be Manuel Cerceda starting alongside Rafael Villanueva. Then on row number 2, we have race winner from the first race, Over Stante and Antonio Combra. Row number 3 next, Nicky Luttweiler and Robert Heffler in the Aston Martin Vantage. And then row number 4, the first race winner of the season, Jean Font and Albert Astregas in that Trans Am Eurocar, who had a retirement and then a 4th place. Be interesting to see how he goes here. Rodrigo Gillion is going to be on row number 5, starting alongside him, Mario Cordini, and then rounding out the field, Roberto Ranieri in the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup car. Drivers of all ages here, as we said, we've got 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds as well, but we look back down the field, of course, Nicky Luttweiler, 59 years old, Mario Cordini, who's rounding up the top 10, 61 years old now. Here's Mario Cordini, 2 times golf 12 hours vice champion, so a former vice champion in the International GT Sprint Series as well. Great to have him with us. Roberto Ranieri, we said, rounding out the field. Someone who's raced in the Block 1 GT in Dubai 24 hours last year. There's the Trans Am Eurocar that we were talking about, the number 26, as the drivers are now set off on their formation lap. So it's a 55-minute race. You have to do a pit stop, but when you get into the pits, nothing really happens. Only the driver swaps. They don't put fuel in the car, change the tyres, even, but they are required to sit there for a select amount of time. Over Stante and Jean Font, along with Roberto Ranieri, Mario Cordini, all those guys will basically just have a little bit of a breather before they go back out again. Everyone else will do their driver swaps. Well, oh dear, that's not good news for the Sports & U car. That is one of the cars that is due to go off row number 2, and unfortunately that has come to a halt on the formation lap. So Antonio Combra, we're going to have a very worried Luis Silva somewhere around the circuit, but unfortunately that doesn't look like it's going to take the start. It is going to be a rolling start, by the way. This is just the 2nd running of the GT Cup Open Europe Championship, which was formed last year. Hans-Peter Koller was the overall champion last year. Points-wise, 15 go to the winner, 12 to 2nd, 10 go to 3rd place. That's good news. Sports & U have got going again. Well, if you missed the first round, it was at the Hungaroring, as you saw from the highlights there. Next, we go to Monza. That will be on the 26th and 27th of September. But the podium last time shared by the same 3 teams. It was Jean Font, Over Stante, and then the team of Nicky Luttweiler and Bas Schufen. That was the 3 teams that took podium places, and as a result, they are split by just 1 point. Font was the winner in the AM class in both races. So we have the Pro-Am category and the AM category as well. As Antonio Combra, to the left of your picture in that Mercedes, is just going to start making his way back up to 4th place, which is where he is going to start. So 55-minute race. When we hit 23 minutes into the race, we will have the pit stops being made, and car 99 has been told it can go back to his position until turn 11, which is where we are at now. So Antonio Combra just about got back to that 4th place in time. If he didn't get there, he would have had to start from the back of the field. But the 2nd season of GT Cup Open Europe had a brilliant start last time out, some brilliant racing. Even more drivers have come along for a play this time. I'm sure it's going to be another fantastic race. Let's run through the grid one more time for you. It is Daniel Diaz Varela, Manuel Cerceda. Cerceda in the car on row number 1. Rafael Villanueva for the NM Racing team will be alongside him on the front row. Then it's Ombrage Racing, Aldo Vestante, and the Sports and U car of Antonio Combra on row number 2. Nicky Luttweiler in from PZ Obrera, and Team Virage's Robert Heffler will be row 3. Row number 4 will be Jean Font and Albert Estragas. Then for PRO Sport Racing, it will be Rodriguez Gillion on row number 5 with Mario Cordini. Roberto Raineri rounds out the field as the drivers now making their way around the penultimate corner. Safety car about to pull in, and there are some nervous places, and then there are some concerned faces, and I think that one was the latter as the race is about to get underway. To the left of your screen is Manuel Cerceda, and to the right of your screen will be Rafael Villanueva when we look at them coming down the start-finish straight. You can see the lights are on. When they go off, we will be racing for round number 2, and there we go, lights are out, and it's Manuel Cerceda who's going to lead us down towards turn number 1, but getting the run on the inside. That is Rafael Villanueva. Villanueva looks like he's going to take the race lead as Manuel Cerceda's getting absolutely swamped here. Antonio Combra trying to come down the inside to take second, and does so. The Portuguese driver there going from 4th to second. Oh no, that's out of Bastante. Bastante has been tagged, and race winner from the first round now facing the wrong way, unfortunately, as going down towards turn number 3 then it is Manuel Cerceda who is down to 3rd place. Leading the way is Rafael Villanueva, and then in 2nd place Antonio Combra. Cerceda, you can see in the blue and white car there, having to defend from Nicky Luttweiler here for 3rd place. Now we need to try and find out what happened to Aldo Vestante, and after a hectic start I'm going to take a quick breather, because joining me in the box, well, let's have a look at this first. So there's the instant. It was just 3 into 1, doesn't go, wasn't it? And Aldo Vestante, as he went to turn into the corner, just got tagged. So here we go, Vestante turning in. Oh dear, well, the car that tagged him was almost facing away from the corner, and that was Jean Font, it looked like, who made the contact. I wouldn't like to be the person that decides if there is a penalty there or if there isn't, but Ombra Racing certainly think that there should be. That is the team of Aldo Vestante. It just looked like Jean Font was turning away from the entry point to turn 2, and that's where Vestante got caught. But let's go to this, because Cerceda's about to lose a place. 3rd place there, Nicky Luttweiler going through. So Manuel Cerceda, a dreadful start from pole position after getting swamped at the start. Manuel Cerceda is now tumbling down the order, and well, could you give a penalty to Jean Font? I don't think you could give a worse one than not finishing the race, because it looks like there's too much damage to that car and he's not going to go any further, as it is under investigation. The instant there is Aldo Vestante in the 51, and that is a tyre that is unfortunately not going to be there for very long if there's anything left of it when he makes it home. But I will now bring in Elliot. What a hectic start that was. Well, first of all, what did you make of the incident? And then we'll come and talk about Manuel Cerceda after.
I think that was Jean Font's fault. He took too much of the road on the inside and then pitched into the side of Vestante. And these are the 2 Porsches that set the pace in the Hungary. Now they're both out. A lot like Vestante's rear right wheel had pretty much gone entirely there, and he was running across the chicane. So I don't think he will complete this lap. So our championship leaders are probably out of the equation.
It's very true. The 2 of the top 3 in that fight for the championship. I know it's early days, but 2 of the top 3 in the championship are almost being out of the race. Jean Font, we don't think it is not going to go any further, and we don't know if Aldo Vestante is going to make it back to the pits or not. So that means championship leader will be Nicky Luttweiler, whatever happens here. Nicky Luttweiler in 3rd in the championship, just 1 point away from the 2 ahead. He is in the picture there in the Porsche, just chasing down that silver Mercedes, and he is trying to get 2nd place away from Antonio Combra. Down the back straight we go. Antonio Combra just trying to weave there. Nicky Luttweiler, though, in that Porsche, is going to look to the inside by the time we get towards turn number 8, and there a little bit of fill in the mirrors there from Nicky Luttweiler. Manuel Cerceda lucky not to tag the back of Nicky Luttweiler there as he ran wide. There is Manuel Cerceda there in the Audi. But out front, Rafael Villanueva is escaping here. New team for this round, and so far so good.
Yeah, and yeah, Luttweiler will be in the points lead regardless of whoever wins this race, because all of his closest rivals haven't scored enough points from the first 2 races to actually surpass in this round.
That's it. So, oh, well, this is all good news. It means we're going to have new drivers on the podium for the first time this season. Here is the car of Aldo Vestante.
Can the cameraman run around the side so we can actually see the the wheel in question.
Let's have a look. That is a team that sort of has almost gone, yep, that's going no further. There was a mechanic there on his knees going, where on earth do I start with this?
I think he was sobbing.
I don't know. I'd say the more experienced of the mechanic when it comes to age is you pretty much before the thing even got on the up on the jack that is job done, not in a good way. Well, there's Aldo Restante. What a shame. He drove so well, took both pole positions at the Hungarian, then got a third in race 1 and won race 2.
And Cicada's coming back at Luttweiler down the straight. Luttweiler had tried going for second place at the final corner, kind of messed up the entry. And Cicada's now got past him for third place. So he's now back on the podium. Our championship leader, de facto championship leader, is now in 4th place. He could actually come back past on the run downhill to turn 3 here. We're going to see if he can do it. Looks to the outside. It's going to stay as it is, but the back straight's coming up next, and in the background that is Robert Heffler who is closing in as well. So the Hungarian driver trying to get involved in this, Robert Heffler, as they now make their way onto the back straight. Heffler retired in the first race at round 1. He took a 5th, so on for a potential best result here. This is the move. We look back at Cicada down the inside of Luttweiler, and there you go, through into 3rd place. The recovery has started because you can see Cicada has already put some distance between himself and Luttweiler, who is a little bit more concerned about that Audi. I say Audi, about that Aston Martin, as there goes Nicky Luttweiler for a bit of a road trip. And now rejoins, and into the pits, this is Gillion, who has come in. That wasn't a good guess, or reading his number, it just says on the front of his car, doesn't it? But Rodrigue Gillion, unfortunately coming into the pits, not during the pit stop phase. There's still 17 minutes to go for that. Cicada's absolutely flying though, isn't he? Let's have a look at some sector times. And Jan Font's car was on the jacks. It's now been put back on. Potentially been back in the race. Vestante's car was still on the jacks as well.
I didn't realise Font had even made it back to the pits. I thought he was stood next to his car at a corner.
Well, yeah, sector 2. He got out of the car and he's taken 236 seconds. So what's that? 60 times 6 minutes. He did to complete that sector.
He took 6. Yeah, he got lost again, and then lost even further. I don't know where I was going with that one, to be honest. Let's go back to the racing, because in the background, oh, that's an incident, and that is one of the Aston Martins turned round, isn't it? What a shame that is. That is Heffler's car that is now facing the wrong way, and that was Cordoni who just ran straight into the back of him. Cordoni got that all wrong. He was trying to pull off a move going into turn 15. To do that, you've got to take up the speed through 14. So it made sense what he was trying to do, but he executed it poorly. And I'd see a penalty coming his way now. I'm sure we'll get another look at it, but not good news, unfortunately, for Heffler, who was on to get his best result of the season. This is Jean Font, by the way.
So they're working on their brake discs there of the front left, and that's where he hit Aldo Festante.
Yes.
So potentially there might have been steering damage as well, but then you'd need a whole wheel alignment kit to check that out.
Let's have a look at this. He's taken a lot of speed to... Oh, well, he's not even going for a move. That's...
Naughty.
That's Cordoni just getting that all wrong there. It wasn't. He was nowhere near him, and I don't know what Cordoni was doing there, but that is something he won't enjoy looking back on. And I see a penalty coming his way, and a very angry Robert Heffler into the race too.
But what Cordoni has already is a 20-second gap to 6th place. Because the field is pretty much spread out over the first 7 minutes of this race.
But how long does it take to drive through the pits? Maybe stop for 10 seconds in it as well.
There's a chicane on the pit entry, so that adds at least another 5 seconds. And it depends if it's a drive-through or a stop-go.
Well, what's happened to Heffler? He's lost 35 seconds well, he's lost about a minute in that total with that incident. Because he was stuck there while everyone else had to go past him. Then he had to get the thing turned round facing the right way again. So what a shame for Heffler. But let's talk about what you're actually seeing on screen. And that is Cicada versus Coimbra coming into picture now. There you can see them. The Mercedes is at Coimbra, the Audi, blue and white Audi. You can't miss it. That's Manuel Cicada. That is Gillion driving back out of pit lane, by the way. So the number 19 is going to return to the track right in front of this battle. And this battle is one that is definitely keeping us entertained. has done the start-finish straight. We go. 46 minutes left on the clock here in the first race of GT Cup Open. And Antonio Coimbra versus Manuel Cerqueira. Don't forget the pole sitter screen there. This is Coimbra, who had that fantastic start, who had a problem on the warm-up lap, then got back to his position and then went straight to second from fourth. So a pretty eventful race so far for Antonio Coimbra. He's done well to settle himself down after the problems he had on the warm-up lap, and then go on and take 2 places as well. So good driving from him so far. Likewise, Nicky Luttweiler, championship-wise, this is looking very good for him. But second place is where he's finished in every race this season. I know there's only been 2 of them, but is Nicky Luttweiler on to continue holding that second place on the podium to his name? Or we'll find out. Let's go through the gaps. Well, I was about to do that, but I can see Antonio Coimbra. There's a back marker there. That's Gillion in the predominantly orange liveried car just to the left there in the Aston Martin, just getting out of the way. Oh dear, but he's going to block Nicky Luttweiler there. That did not work out, that for Nicky Luttweiler at all. He's going to be delayed now. And now the car of Gillion has allowed all the leaders through. In the background, we have Cordoni, who is surely going to be under investigation. And then behind that, we have Ranieri, Stragus, Heffler, Gillion.
Yeah, and the team manager of car number 19, which is Rodrigo Gillion, has been summoned to race control.
Well, that's got to be because, they've come into the pits.
Yeah.
And they've done, So I think they'll want to find out exactly why Gillion actually had to come into pit lane. The others were fairly obvious that they're going to have to come into the pit lane. They're still going to have to come back in 12 minutes' time. But I think the story there will be, let's find out what happened now. We also are just seeing it flash up on our screens that the incident involving car 13 and 51 will be investigated under the race, and that's after the race. Well, that's because both drivers are out, or in the pits rather, and they're not exactly going to have any effect on the standings within the top 10, so that is one that they will sort out after the race. This is Mario Cordoni, who I feel will will be passing Vestante in front on his way to the steward's office as well, back from it after the race.
Cordoni's got a lighter stick because he had a pretty heavy hit with the Aston Martin, whereas the other two Porsches that crashed, it was quite a soft impact, but they're both out the race, whereas Cordoni's just got a little bit of radiator damage, and that's about it, it looks like. So he's got off very lightly, even if he does get hurt.
There's Jean Font, by the way, not the happy, smiley Jean Font we saw after he took the first race win of the season. That is more of a very disappointed Jean Font.
But his main title rival, Aldo Festante, is also out this race, so he hasn't lost too much in the title race, and unless Luttweiler can keep up this form, having to double up in GT Open and GT Cup Open on the same day, which is quite a tiring thing to do, I think this might actually help the title race, make it a little more exciting.
If it didn't need to be more exciting already, as Nicky Luttweiler there in fourth place, chasing down Manuel Cerqueira, first pole position for him in the championship. It's the second season he and Daniel Diaz-Varela are doing. It's the second running of the GT Cup Open Europe, but they raced in it together last year, and they're racing together in it this season as well. And there is evident improvements from them with their first pole position yesterday evening. Just over 40 minutes remaining, so we're getting closer now, less than 10 minutes before we will see them come down pit road. Cerqueira just coming out of the final corner now, making his way down the start-finish straight. All of this playing into the hands of Rafael Villanueva, who is 3 seconds down the road from this, but this is turning into a very exciting battle for second, as Coimbra there just running slightly wide under braking. That's brought Manuel Cerqueira closer. There's Nicky Luttweiler, who's going to have the best seat in the house for this, as they now head round turn number 2 and in towards turn number 3. But this is Rafael Villanueva, the leader, flashes through screen, and then this the battle for second place behind. as they make their way into turn number 5, through 6 now, and into 7.
Less than a second covers these 3 cars.
Let's find out then. Mercedes versus Audi now down the back straight, with a Porsche in the background as well. Down towards turn number 8 they go, and looking to the inside, there's going to be Manuel Cerqueira. There's not a lot of room on the inside, but he's going to give it a go, and he's going to go straight on, surely. Yeah. Also running wide there was Antonio Combra and Nicky Luttweiler. Now, where's he going to appear out of all of this? Let's have a look. Well, Cerqueira's going to have to slow down and give that place back. And there you can see the frustration from Antonio Combra, thinking, what on earth are you playing at? And there he's going to let him back through. And I think Manuel Cerqueira was probably also going to drop in behind Nicky Luttweiler. That's Albert Estragas, who is in the pit lane as well. And that looks like a pretty terminal problem, given that car was going back into the garage. So this has been a race that has taken many prisoners so far, hasn't it? Estragas joining the likes of Guillaume Verstappen and Font. Well, there's no grip there, and I think that was a Manuel Cerqueira that got too distracted by Antonio Combra and just completely missed his braking point and went straight on. And in the end decided it was safer to just bail out of it, go straight across the chicane and then allow the place back. And he's actually slotted in nicely between Combra and behind him, Nicky Luttweiler. Less than 40 minutes on the clock now, just over 7 minutes remaining, and we have a drive-through for car 67. Well, that was just inevitable. It was something we were waiting for, and Cordini's already into the pits, I'm assuming, to serve that drive-through. If he isn't here, then he will come past our commentary box window. There is the number 67. This is another look at the incident. Got it completely wrong. Oh dear. Straight into the back of Heffler. And Heffler, well, for Heffler, it's put him all the way back into 7th place. That might sound bad to some viewers, but it's more the time he lost in it than anything else, considering he was not far behind these 3. Just over 6 minutes remaining now, so we are approaching 20 minutes into the race now. 55-minute races it is. 38 minutes are left on the clock as they see Nicky Luttweiler coming into the turn 8-9 chicane. And this battle just taking a breather, aren't they, Elliot, in this battle now? It's, you know, the first half's done, you know, half time after that move, let's go for it again in a couple of laps.
Yeah, I think the heat here, though, will make their jobs a little harder as the race goes on. Even if there's no one to battle on track, they're going to be battling their cars pretty soon. We actually are seeing some people who are hitting the brakes entering turn 11, which is a high-speed corner, but you want to get the car stable before you enter that corner, and you can see the rear ends kind of stepping out. I've just got up some basic info about the cars we're seeing on screen now. The Mercedes of these 3 cars has the most power, and I think Paul Ricard is a power circuit. I mean, 3 very long straights.
I'd say so. So
Mercedes 1-2. Maybe it isn't a surprise that they're 1-2. Then we have the Porsche, which has less power, but its weight distribution is completely different to the Mercedes, and that should help in the first sector and the final sector. So it should make for a close battle. And then you have the Audi in the middle, which is also kind of like a mid-engine car. And the Cicadas are having a look at Antonio Combra. 2 temps between them as they cross the line. He's dipping right, he's dipping left. He's thinking better of it.
That is just distraction tactics, isn't it, from Manuel Cerqueira? There was never going to be a move there, but there could have been a mistake from Antonio Combra, and you've just got to keep trying to force that without losing too much time, because, you know, we're seeing now that in the background, Nicky Luttweiler is just closing in a little bit here. Manuel Cerqueira drops back from Antonio Combra as they come through turn number 5 and now into 6. There is Rafael Villanueva. That is Guillaume with the headlights on. Guillaume a lap down, 351 seconds back from the next driver if you were interested. And all will take advantage of the tow that they can get, the free tow that they can get from Rafael Guillaume down the back straight. But it's almost a shame we're going to have pit stops soon. Manos Cerqueira once again running wide into that chicane. That's got to be the 4th or 5th time he's done that now. Just got his braking wrong, and you can see how much it harms him on the exit. It is almost a shame we have the pit stops now. We keep forgetting about Villanueva. He's still out there out front, but I just hope that we're going to be this close afterwards as well, because these three seem to be fairly inseparable here, and I could see a battle like this going all the way to the flag.
Yeah, I think Cerqueira's brake problems may be because he has hydraulic brakes. I don't know if hydraulic brakes agree with you know, high temperatures. I may be wrong. I may be technically inept, but I'm going through the 3 cars and it's the only one with hydraulic brakes, so that's the assumption I've come to. That may be the cause.
Possibly. It's better than having no clue at all, isn't it? So there's a potential scenario, a potential reason. As we had a quick glimpse there of our race leader, Villanueva, Combra, Cerqueira, Luttweiler all behind, split by just 1 second, all 3 of them, as they charge down the start-finish straight to complete what will be 9 laps of the race now.
It could also be a driver thing. If Cerqueira thinks that going faster into the corner is actually going to set him up better for the exit of that chicane, which I think he'd be mistaken in thinking, because normally the more speed you carry in, the less speed you can carry out. But you know, it may be a driver thing as well. That's just the way he wants to attack that corner, and possibly it puts pressure on the car ahead as well. If you can see the Audi suddenly looming into the mirrors on corner entry.
It's often the case if you make a big mistake at a heavy braking zone like turn 8. Usually a driver would then brake too early for the rest of the race. I think it may be one of those things where Cerqueira has outbraked himself, but then he started braking too early and just can't quite find that braking point. It's very easily done at times, particularly in endurance races, where you might just have a problem with that one corner you just can't get right.
And because there's 2 drivers in each of these cars, and I do believe Cerqueira is sharing his car, I'll quickly check.
He is.
Yeah.
Daniel Diaz-Varela will be in next.
Yeah, so potentially the car setup's actually been set up for his
Daniel
teammate.
Diaz-Varela, yeah.
And his preference on braking.
That's probably the more likely, actually. Let's have a look at the gap. Is it coming down? 4.9 it was, and, well, 5 seconds. It's basically staying exactly the same.
Yeah,
lap times, looking at lap times, 2:12.6, 0.6 for Villanueva, 0.7 for Combra, 0.6 for Cerqueira, 0.6 for Nicky Luttweiler as well. Although Cordini has had to have a slap on the wrist, he's not far behind that either, 0.8. So they're all fairly matched, and I think we've got to give a shout out to Robert Heffler, because it's not exactly his fault he's in 7th, but he also a 0.8. But taking our eye off the screen for too long, sometimes you can miss things, and I think we almost did there, because it looked like they were briefly side by side there, were Manuel Cerqueira and Nicky Luttweiler. Yeah,
basically half a second spread in lap time across field. It's very competitively matched, but you then wonder how come there's already 25 seconds between them if they're all capable of lapping at the exact same kind of pace.
It's a 55-minute race though, isn't it? And that's the half a second over that amount of time adds up. As any second now, you're about to see in about 30 seconds, 35, that is when we are going to have the pit stop window open. And we'll see who comes in first. In this battle, it's do you want to come in first? I mean, Nicky Luttweiler, he's in a bit of a tough situation here, because he's not really going to have an effect on this battle if he dives in now. So of all of them, he might be the most likely to dive straight in.
Well, yeah, Luttweiler wouldn't come out in traffic if he had a stop. Whereas Villanueva, if that stop's a little slower, then he comes out, he may get involved, well, his teammate then may get stuck behind other cars. But also we need to know the handicaps, potentially, or success penalties, whatever you want to call them, because the pit stops are kind of dictated on how well you've previously done.
Yeah, that's a factor that does come into play. Bad shooting is going to be, takes over for Nicky Luttweiler. Vincent Beltois was racing alongside Nicky at the first round. Shame he's not here, because this would have been a home race for him, and the way Nicky Luttweiler's going in this stint would have been a potential, at least, home podium, if not victory, depending on what happens to Rafael Villanueva when he hands over to Alberto De Martin. Just over 30 minutes left. You can see driver changes are now on. And we await to see who's going to be first to dive into the pits. 4 drivers are already in there or won't be going any further, so 7 drivers then left to see who comes in first. They've got just under 8 minutes to make their stops. And any of these 3, well, Nicky Luttweiler's in. Well, that was one thing we did think. You'll see him in the back of your shotgun flying in. There you see in the Porsche, Nicky Luttweiler in the back of this battle. For him, it's going to make no difference whether he comes in now or not. He's only going to slow up if he tries to fight with those 2 ahead. So sensible decision here. Nicky Luttweiler comes in and he's about to hand over to Baz Schuten. There you can see Baz. And they'll come in and Nicky Luttweiler will jump out of the car and Baz will jump in. And then the man with the stopwatch at the front of the car will send them on their way when the time has been completed. Gillion's car is in the background as well. Not too sure what's going on there, but it looks like they are soon going to be underway. And then here comes now, this is the 67 of Mario Cordini. He's had his drive-through, and now he's back into familiar territory for this race, into the pit lane.
And a lot of drivers will be jumping into the hot seat now, but for the Audi drivers, that's fine. It's air-conditioned, according to the website.
Well, keep them coming, But Cordini, he doesn't have to hand over to anyone, so he'll have a drink, a non-alcoholic one, of course, and then he'll be back on his way. This is Villanueva, who will be putting in his final laps now before handing over to Alberto Di Martin. Now, if you're Antonio Combra, with all this pressure from behind, surely you're going to dive into pit lane. If you're Manuel Cerqueda, once you get that free air, you're going to stay out. So Manuel Cerqueda will just be hoping Antonio Combra comes in that Sports View Mercedes. And Manuel Cerqueda in the Ombra Racing Audi will just want to stay out. The Vaporo Motorsport Audi, shall I say. And there you can see Manuel Cerqueda. And we're about to find out very shortly whether Antonio Combra is going to come in. Let's find out. Rounds, turn number 13 they go. And Antonio Combra is he staying out? It looks like he is to me. Yes, he is. So Antonio Combra staying out, and that's probably a little bit frustrating for Cerqueda.
He is right on his rear though. Mercedes should be faster out the corners. It should have better traction at the long, front end of the car. But it's got the Audi all over it as they go past the commentary box now. He's looking to the inside. Is he going to go for the move? Because he'll want to get this done before the 2 cars pit. He still doesn't make it turn 1. I think he's tried that maybe 4 times in this race and hasn't made a success of it. But we have seen him get very close at the chicane, the turn 8, 9 chicane. So potentially he'll be holding back a little bit through these corners and making sure he's got a better run onto the long back straight here.
Through the left they go now, up towards turns 4 and 5. Oh dear, and Antonio Combra slowing down. Manuel Cerqueda looking to get the switch back. This is the part of the track where Antonio Combra had problems last time. Oh, there's going to almost be a little bit of contact there. Cerqueda having to back out of that one there. Well, Antonio Combra, I think, having Cerqueda confused as well.
That looked like a fluffed gear change on the Mercedes there. As he tried to get back on the traction on that corner, I think he chose the wrong gear and realised he could still just accelerate and hold the middle of the line to stop the Audi getting past.
Well, the Mercedes there just about getting away with that one, and this is all going to be playing into the hands of Nicky Luttweiler. Baz Schuten in that car now, in 5th. They are surely going to appear in 2nd after that, because that would have lost them a bit of time. And also, Villanueva's lead is going to extend, and it's up to 7.6 now. And surely one of these guys is going to come in now. If you're Cerqueda, if the car ahead isn't going to dive in, surely you will, as here we can see Roberto Ranieri, who is also in the car by himself, just being handed a drink, and just a little bit of a breather. Let's have another look then. Yeah, I think you're right. Gear change not working out, and then Cerqueda trying to get the switch back, starts to draw alongside, takes the curb. Oh, and I think both very lucky to get away from that unscathed.
If they don't pit on this lap, I think they have one more opportunity to, because we have literally 3 minutes left of the pit window, and there's probably like a 2 minute 12, 2 minute 13 lap.
So they're both in the next lap, basically. And Villanueva drivers in. So race leader is in to the pits. So we're only waiting for Cercado and Combra to come in now. That's it, they're the last two that are ready to come in. So now Alberto De Martin is going to jump in the car.
The cars are getting faster on lighter fuel loads now. Antonio Combra did set his fastest speed trap figure, and so did Alberto. Well, De Martin's getting in the car now, but the driver who wasn't there also set their fastest speed down the long construction route.
Right-hander into the left, so this was where that gear change went wrong for Antonio Combra last time. This time he looks okay. Manuel Cercado would just want to be the one that leads these two into the pit lane. So far it's not happening, but here we go down the back straight, and running wide there was Antonio Combra. This might open up an opportunity then, as Manuel Cercado in the tow, having flashbacks, I'm sure, of what happened last time. He tried to make a move into there and ended up running straight over it. This time Cercado goes for the outside racing line. They're going to be side by side into turn 8, into 9. Not going to work out, and all these two are doing is losing each other time. Let's have a look at why the Antonio Combra car went right, and he just missed his turning point, wasn't it? Strange for mistakes to happen there, because it's basically flat out through turn 7.
Yeah, and there were, I think it would be important here which driver is ahead in the pit boxes. Because if your pit box is ahead and the other, and if you're basically coming out at the same time that you finish your pit stop, you might actually have to let the other driver pass to make sure you've got a safe release. So they want to either be right on top of each other, or at least have a safe gap between them to avoid messing with each other once they're in the pit lane as well.
This is Alberto De Martin who has jumped in to that Mercedes. Let's see what the gap is to Baz Schutten. I think it's just under 20 seconds, and these two have been inseparable so far this race, and that's going to continue in the pit lane as well, down pit road. Once these two are in and out again, we will know exactly what the situation is in terms of the battle for the podium positions. First slot goes to Antonio Combra, so that's probably the best place you can be. Luis Silva there is going to jump in.
And they've got a 70-second pit stop. We'll see what the other car's pit stop length is. 75. Oh, so yeah, we don't think the Cercado car will actually stay ahead now.
We'll find out then, as looks like there is going to be the change there. Alberto De Martin, this is your race leader, just coming up towards turns 13 and 14. Through turn 14 we go, just over 20 minutes left on the clock. Just a couple of corners left before we are going to see the race leader making its way down the start-finish straight. Well, not the race leader yet, but soon to be. Alberto De Martin comes out of the final corner and down the start-finish straight now. I haven't seen any of... I haven't seen Manuel Cercado or Antonio Combra come past me, but now they'd flash past the commentary box window, and there is the race leader. And as we expected, Manuel Cercado's car is now ahead. Though in that car now, as they make their way out of the pits, it's going to be Daniel Diaz-Varela, Luis Silva in the other car. So a change in the pit stops. Baz Schutten's car now goes past the start-finish line. Their handicap means they've lost out time. We've got to remember we're seeing drivers here who were not on the podium. None of the cars that are in the top 3 were on the podium last time out, so considerably less handicaps than those who were. As onto the back straight they go. This through turn 7. Let's have a look here at the release, and oh, just out in time there. Some may argue that was an unsafe release, really. But Daniel Diaz-Varela was released off and just got back out in front of Luis Silva. As long as Luis Silva didn't actually have to back off, then you'd have to say that it was okay. They weren't side by side, but they almost were. gap to the leader, 5.6 seconds, so it's come down by a couple of seconds since the pit stops. Now it's whether Daniel Diaz-Varela can chase De Martin down or not. Just over 5 seconds is the gap. Let's remember the Diaz-Varela car in second was the car that started from pole position. It was their first ever pole position in the championship. So far, those guys looking good as they make their way now through the penultimate corner and in towards the final corner. All fairly new faces at the head of the field here. One team that's only just joined in for this round, but Manos Arcada and Daniel Diaz-Varela will not be new to the podium. He did score 3 last season. Had a double podium finish at the Catalunya round, and they took their first podium in the championship at Silverstone. Let's see if they can go on and make it a 4th in the championship. It would be Luis Silva's first podium though. As will it be for Alberto De Martin as well. Let's keep an eye on the gaps then. Looking at sector times, Daniel Diaz-Varela was half a second quicker than Alberto De Martin through the first sector. So the gap is going to be starting to come down. 5.6 seconds it is at the moment. Let's wait and see what they are through the second sector. While we're waiting to do that, let's just confirm the order. So Alberto De Martin leads from Daniel Diaz-Varela. Diaz-Varela is the lead AM car. Then we have Luis Silva, Baz Schuten, and then Mario Cordini, Roberto Ranieri, and Philippe Valenza is behind that in the 77, having taken over from Robert Heffler. Through the second sector, once again, Diaz-Varela was quicker, and with that, the gap is now down to 5.3 seconds. So this could be a very nervous watch for Alberto De Martin's NM Racing team. Rafael Villanueva has done everything he possibly can. Now it's whether Alberto De Martin can hold on. This is the race leader we are looking at coming through the final corner now. Alberto De Martin, the 53-year-old from Madrid, former VDV champion, actually. Reigning vice champion as well in the GT4 South European Series with NM Racing. So is very capable of taking wins and podiums. Is Alberto De Martin. Is he going to be able to hold on? We'll wait to find out. And there you can see in the number 99, that is Luis Silva, Portuguese driver. He and Antonio Combra actually did race together in International GT Open. Raced together in that International GT Open since 2013. And that includes them getting a title back in 2017 in the championship. And a championship podium last year as well. So both very capable drivers. Good to see them racing in the GT Cup Open Europe Series here. Look at that gap though, look to the left of your screen. That's the gap's being shown, the time's being shown is the gap to the car ahead. And Luis Silva here, who is on your screen, with Nicky Luttweiler behind. You can see Silva in this Mercedes here, this silver Mercedes, that white and red Porsche. The number 22 is Baz Schuten, who has jumped in for Nicky Luttweiler. And Baz Schuten here, it only seems a matter of time before he's going to go into third. So 2 good battles going on. We have the gap between first and second coming down, and then we have this very imminent battle for third place between Silva and Schuten as they head through turn number 11. And is that going to be a move down the inside? Baz Schuten got there in the end. Baz Schuten does go through. So, well, you have to say Luis Silva didn't make that very hard for Baz Schuten. Baz Schutten is now through, and I think that was a case of Lewis Silva going, I'm not going to be able to hold him off for 16 minutes, so there you go, there's the door, go through it please, and get a move on. So Baz Schutten is now through into third place. Now, could he come into play here? That's another question. Let's have a look at the lap times that they are setting. Well, Baz Schutten on the last lap did a 2:12.6. Alberto De Martin did a 2:15.6, and Daniel Diaz-Varela did a 2:13.8. So Baz Schutten is just under 2 seconds quicker than Daniel Diaz-Varela, but is I'll say that, he's 6/10 quicker than Daniel Diaz-Varela, and then he's 2.5 seconds quicker than the leader. So we have the car in third catching second at the rate of 1 second a lap. And we have the car in third catching the leader at the rate of 2 seconds a lap. But then we also have the car in second catching the leader as well at 2 to 3 seconds a lap. So basically the car in the lead is going to have 2 cars to deal with at some stage in this race. There you can see a nice view there. So you see first and second go through shot. This is third with fourth in the background. You can see the distance Baz Schutten has already put between himself and Lewis Silva. Pretty impressive, you have to say. As they now come through the chicane and up towards turn number 10. Well, Alberto De Martin will just want that clock to start ticking down a lot quicker than it is here, because a very interesting situation developing. And there you see Baz Schutten 7/10 quicker than Daniel Diaz-Varela on the last lap, but the gap between Diaz-Varela and De Martin is less than 2 seconds. And with the rate that he's catching De Martin at, there's going to be a battle for the lead on the next lap. And then it's just a case of whether Baz Schutten can bring himself into play here. We've got roughly 5 or 6 laps remaining in this race, and if Schutten is catching Diaz-Varela at 7/10 a lap, that's not going to be enough for him to catch Diaz-Varela, but he certainly will catch De Martin. What he needs, Baz Schutten, who we are looking at, is Alberto De Martin in the lead to make Diaz-Varela's task of getting through very difficult if he's going to have any chance in fighting for the lead. But I think with the situation they found themselves in after pit lane, they would be happy with a second. But this is your race leader we're looking at, but for how long, I'm not too sure that the next time we cross the line, Alberto De Martin is going to be in the race lead, because you can see in the blue and white behind there, that is Daniel Diaz-Varela getting closer now. In search of their first ever win in the championship. 3 podiums they took last year, the pairing of Daniel Diaz-Varela and Manuel Cerqueda. How good would it feel to get a first win? And look at the gap now, it's only half a second, and well, surely De Martin is just going to let him go here. You can't see Alberto De Martin trying to defend. Down towards the turn 8-9 chicane they go, and Diaz-Varela sitting behind for now. Don't want to take any unnecessary risks here. Up towards turn 10 now they go, and Diaz-Varela just lining up the move now, and Diaz-Varela is in a very good situation where he's got the time to do it. He knows he's quick enough to do it. He's got a gap behind him. Just be sensible, wait for the gap to open up, and Diaz-Varela, I think, is in the process of doing that now. We're approaching 10 minutes to go in this race. The gap between Schutten and these two, though, is getting closer. It was 5.2 last time. Well, it is 5.2. That is the live gap. You wait for the next update as Diaz-Varela. I'm surprised he hasn't gone through yet, I'll be honest with you. This is an opportunity coming up now, coming through turn 14 into the final corner. There you can see more speed taken from Diaz-Varela into the final corner. Has to go very tight to do it, but he's through. On the exit, can De Martin get the run to challenge him back? No, that looks like move done. And that is the team, Vapora Motorsport team, very happy with that as they charge now down towards turn 1. What did you make of it, Elliot?
Very clean move, but I don't think it's going to stick. I think he is going to come back past.
well, in towards turn number 1 we go. De Martin looking to the outside. But I just think this first sector now, that's going to be job done, because Diaz Varela is going to be off. And there you can see a couple of car lengths, and that's all he needs. And Diaz Varela, thank you very much, and see you later. He's going to be gone now. So attention will turn to Baz Schuten in 3rd place. Here's another look at it. Carrying more speed through turn 14, sacrifice the entry into 15, but that'll give you the line to make the move done. And there you see, through he goes. Textbook stuff that from Daniel Diaz Varela. Had it lined up from 2 or 3 corners before Diaz Varela goes through to take the race lead, and that was the reaction from the team. Very pleased with that one.
Certainly looks like the Audi's been set up for his braking characteristics and tendencies and his teammates earlier.
I think you were right on that one, because Manuel Cerqueda just couldn't get that thing slowed down. And talking about getting slowed down, you see Baz Schuten getting a little bit out of shape there. So Baz Schuten, the gap between him and the race leader is 3.5 seconds. And last time he was considerably quicker than the race leader. However, that was, we have to take into effect that Diaz Varela did have to make a move, so we have lost a good second. But last lap, Baz Schuten did 2:12.8, Diaz Varela did a 2:14.7. This is, well, we forgot that there's other cars in this race, but there is, in case you forgot. There is Mario Cordini in 5th place, the driver who had, well, who established a bit of an incident earlier, let's say, sent Heffler facing the wrong way, but Cordini is 5th place, Valenza 6th, Ranieri is then in 7th place. Heffler, of course, out the car now, Valenza, Philippe Valenza in that car. But it's this battle for the lead where it's all kicking off. We have to wait until they cross the line the next lap. This is Cordini, though, in that number 67. He's 3rd in the AM category, so he's actually on for a class podium here. He's Cordini. Mario Cordoni just coming around the final couple of corners, and into the final corner. There goes the 67 onto the start-finish straight. Behind Cordoni, this is Philippe Valenza.
Last place in the Pro-Am class, because we've only got 3 Pro-Am cars left on track after we lost our 2 main leading cars at the very start of this race.
It's a class podium, isn't it? I guess you can say that, but when you're in the Pro-Am class, the only podium you care about is the overall one, really. But last time the leaders crossed the line, Baz Schuten in 3rd was a second quicker than Diaz Varela. But this is the very unlucky 77 car in this race, whose any chances of them getting the podium were sadly stolen away from them. But we must go back to the battle for second, because it is now a battle for second. It is De Martin versus Schuten. Schuten the car behind. Now Schuten needs to get past as quickly as possible without losing time. That will be the only chance he then has to go and catch Diaz Varela, who is leading the way.
And he's turned on his lights to try and distract him.
Get out of the way. I've got a race win I want to go and chase, so please get out of the way. And there you see, that's a very impatient Baz Schuten. This would be a good place to try it, as De Martin will open a gap, but oh, a little bit of a tap there. Baz Schuten saying, okay, that's enough of you in second now. And through he goes. So it took a little bit of convincing, but Baz Schuten has now made his way through it into second place. So now it's whether the gap between the top 2, well, we have to see what the gap is first, but it's whether Baz Schuten has enough time to close that gap, because he is the quickest driver on track as they come through now the final couple of corners into the last corner. And you can see just how much quicker and how much more comfortable Baz Schuten is out there on track, as De Martin not pleased with how Baz Schuten made that move. If he's close enough, he's going to have a go back at him here, and there you can see now Baz Schuten having to defend in towards the first corner, but in the end able to take the race in line. So 3.6 seconds is the gap.
Now that did look like a proper swipe, because he reacted to the cars behind movement first when he moved across, and then he moved back to the racing line rather than going across before the car behind did. Which, you know, if I was Mercedes, I wouldn't be very happy about that. Obviously, Baz Schuten wasn't in this car 2 weeks ago.
No.
It was Vincent Beltois sharing, so he'll only go up to 5th in the points if he can get past Diaz Varela for the victory. whereas Luttweiler would actually be like solo points leader at this rate.
Right, so 3.4 is the gap. Well, let's have a look at Cordoni.
Puncture.
Oh dear.
It looked like he hit some debris there because the car moved up and then it dropped suddenly.
That's unfortunate for Mario Cordoni, but I think there will be a number 77 Robert Heffler going, well, what goes around comes around, I think there, as Cordoni now leaves the pit lane. So, right, gap between these two, let's have a look at what it is. Through the first sector, Baz Schuten in second, not this car, was 2/10 quicker. And through the second sector, he was also 2/10 quicker. 4/10 quicker, funny enough, that adds up to so far on this lap. Baz Schuten will be doing everything he can now. They're going to have 2 or 3 laps left at most. Here's the 77 of Valenza.
Also a puncture.
Oh dear. Well,
that's a front left and a different part of the circuit as well.
That's worrying, isn't it?
That is indeed.
That is worrying for our leaders, because clearly this track is taking victim a lot of tyres now. Let's get the gap when these guys cross the line though and see. It was 3.4. Let's see what the gap is when they cross the line. And is there going to be enough time for Baz Schuten to close down? Here they come up to the start-finish line to complete 22 laps, and it's 2.2 seconds. So the answer is yes. Baz Schuten has enough time. There's going to be a battle for the lead in this race going on to the final lap.
I'll be watching my tyres very carefully right now if I was one of these P3 cars.
I think of all of them, Alberto De Martin has the space to do that. He's got 10 seconds behind him, so he might as well just ease off and just make it round to the end of the race rather than risking it. But only two laps. There might be 2 laps at the end of this one, and that's it. Here's the 77 of Philippe Valenza in the pits. There is a chance that could be almost race over. Whether they've got enough time, isn't it, to get the car fixed and back out. Oh no, puncture in the background is that. Let's have a look. I did think that was probably a puncture there for Alberto De Martin, but I think it was just a mistake.
But the Audi's getting pretty loose on entry as well on the rear tyres. And then the Mercedes was ahead. No, it was behind, but it wasn't behind that much. And even going wide at that corner, you don't lose that much speed.
What I have to say is Baz Schuten was matched through the first sector that time, so Diaz Varela is throwing everything he has out this now. And in fact,
the gap has grown.
Yeah, he was quicker through the second sector, and that is Philippe Valenza for the Virage team. Very disappointed. But has Diaz Varela been saving tyres for this point? And has Baz Schuten's tyres just gone? Because on this lap, the gap has not come down, it's extended.
With Valenza out this race, that does mean that Baz Schuten will be the only Pro-Am scorer. Well, no, be the only Pro-Am scorer with the car with Luttweiler.
Yeah.
With Luttweiler will then go to the top of the standings. Because we only had 3 Pro-Am entries last time out in Hungary.
Through the final corner, let's see what the gap does this time. 2.5 seconds. It doesn't really look like it's starting to come down. Let's have a look. They come across the line. There's 2 laps remaining now. There's up onto the final couple of laps to go, and it has come down, so it's come down by half a second.
All in the final sector.
Okay.
By almost 7/10 of a second in that final sector, because Porsche was actually slower in the middle sector and came back at the Audi at the very end of the lap, where it is tough on the tyres because it's more direction changes.
Well, here we go then. This reminds me of the first race at Hungary. We had a similar situation. It wasn't for the lead, but I think it was for second.
I was going to say it reminds me of the Formula 1 race at Silverstone a few weeks ago, where the 2 Mercedes had tyre problems.
Yes, yeah, it does actually, doesn't it? Well, let's hope that doesn't happen to our top 2 on track, because it would ruin us. It's going to be a very entertaining final lap and a half to this race. First sector, again, Diaz Varela wasn't quicker, but reduced the gap there. It's only 600ths it came down by. So Diaz Varela is really starting to pick up pace through the first 2 sectors, and it seems to be all through the final sector here. Baz Schuten is going to have to try. If he takes 6/10 out of him again, it's going to be 1.2 seconds and he's going to be in the tow.
He may well be. You can see the heat haze on the circuit, so it is pretty tough for the drivers out there. I'm still convinced one of those punches was down to debris.
I think so as well, yeah. And there is Manuel Cerqueda getting very nervous, I assume, because this would be their first race win in the number 10 Bakuro Motorsport car. And there is there is Nicky Luttweiler looking calm, but I don't think his feelings inside will match his body language, because he's going to be on the edge of his seat here as they come through the final few corners. And it just looks like Diaz Varela is doing enough at the moment. You can see the difference in lines. They take through turn 14, a much tighter line from that number 10 Audi, and a wider line from the 22 Porsche. And it's looked like it's been a really good final sector, actually. Let's get the gap as they come up to the line to go on to what will be the final lap of the race, I believe. So here they come across the line, and 1.3 seconds is the gap. I think it's going to need a mistake from Diaz Varela here. But as you get onto the last lap, that is when the nerves really start to rise and the pressure really starts to hit Daniel Diaz Varela. Well,
this is an AM car in the lead and a Pro-Am car behind, so by all expectations, you'd think that the Pro-Am car, the Pro-Am driver would be quicker. That doesn't seem to be the case here. Also, Nicky Luttweiler's got to get back in this car later for GT Open, so he doesn't want Bas Schuten to do anything silly on the final lap going for victory, because he wants you know, a pristine car for the next race later today.
Well, Diaz Varela didn't take an overall win last year. Did take some overall podiums and some class victories, but never an overall win. He's had a lot of experience racing in France, as Daniel Diaz Varela raced in the GT4 Cup back in 2018. So he knows his way around the French circuits, and that is certainly showing at the moment. Bas Schuten trying everything he can to put as much pressure on the Spaniard ahead, but so far it is just not working. Daniel Diaz Varela, as Guillon is about to go back out onto the circuit after a lengthy stop.
And he'd actually potentially overtake Albert Estregas by going back on track, because he was a lap behind when they both pitted.
So yes, potentially we'll keep an eye on that, but we do have the top two fairly close together here, and it just looks like Bas Schuten's going to run out of time, but more so it's an impressive defensive performance here from Daniel Diaz Varela, who has just controlled things out front. But then, oh well, here we go, a good middle sector from Bas Schuten. Is there just going to be a chance here for Bas Schuten to try and move into the final corner? I'm not too sure if he's going to be close enough. He's going to go as quickly as he can through turns 14 here, but I'm not going to be close enough. So up to the final corner, Diaz Varela goes defensive anyway, just to try and cover off any moves. But I think he's just done enough, and up to the line is going to be a first overall win in the GT Cup Open Europe Series for Daniel Diaz Varela and Manuel Cerqueda. They take victory, and you can see what it means to them. Behind, Bas Schuten came oh so close with Nicky Luttweiler, but they will finish second overall and take a class victory. And Albert de Martin is going to come home in third place there. Brilliant performance from Alberto de Martin, with Rafael Villanueva starting the race for them. Luis Silva and Antonio Coimbra will finish in fourth place. Cordoni, after his drive through, will be in fifth place. Raineri comes from the back of the field to finish sixth. Philippe Valenza might be seventh, but we don't know if that they're going to be a change there. But Philippe Valenza, unfortunately, problems for them mean he'll be seventh. Albert Estregas in eighth. Might be overtaken by Guillon, who knows, but they are 8th and 9th in some order. Out of Estante, he of course had that incident at the start of the race. He finished in 10th, and that incident was with Jean Font, who is out of the race as well. But they can see Bas Schuten seems happy enough with that second place, but what a performance. First time taking an overall win for Daniel Diaz Varela and Manuel Cerqueda. Firstly, it was their first pole position last night, and they followed that up with their first win. Brilliant performance. Yeah, and Bakuro Motorsport's now won 2 of 3 races this year as well, because obviously Jean Font won the season opening race at the Hungaroring. Yep, Jean Font did indeed. So it's been a really mixed day for them, but I think the positive side will outweigh the negative. And Alberto de Martin, the third place Mercedes here, was finished 13 seconds behind, so they dropped, what, maybe a second a lap in those final 10 laps, and that was a car that looks
pretty set for victory through the first 35-40 minutes of this race.
Yeah, Alberto de Martin just wasn't quite able to hold on, but and nevertheless, the work from Rafael Villanueva, the young Spaniard there, was enough for them to take a very comfortable podium in the end. Antonio Cobra and Luis Silva, they had that scare on the warm-up lap and almost didn't start the race in the 4th position. They qualified, but 4th place for them in the end. Let's recap the results. It's Diaz Varela and Cerqueda, first overall victory in the championship for them. Leutwiler and Schouten just about missing out half a second. One more lap and they might have been able to do it. They finished in 2nd. De Martin and Villanueva, long-time race leaders, finished in 3rd. And it's Cobra and Silva, Mario Coldoni, Roberto Raineri. Then we have Heffler and Valenza. Albert Estragas, unfortunately, out of the race, along with Valenza, and also out of the race the likes of Guillaume and Verdonk. Out of Estante involved in that incident with Jean Font right at the start of the race, who also is not classified. An entertaining race though, just like we had at the first round. It went all the way down to the wire, and we talked a little bit about it throughout the race. Nicky Leutwiler going into the lead of the championship, and there is the proof for you, 36 points. Manuel Cerqueda and Daniel Diaz Varela jump up to 2nd, so 2 of the top 3, Aldo Vestante and Jean Font, dropping down to 3rd and 4th in the standings. So although they didn't quite get the win, it's been a very good day, particularly for Nicky Leutwiler. Bas Schouten scoring good points on his first race of the season, but for Nicky Leutwiler, who scored 2 second places, they continue with 2nd place once again. 3 second places in 3 races of the GT Cup Open Europe 2020 season. They were so close to not finishing 2nd again, but another 2nd. And here we can see Daniel Diaz Varela delighted with that one. Brilliant result for them. They did just enough to hold on. And, congratulations all round as they take overall victory.
So Nicky Leutwiler will now be on 39 points, and with the Cicada Diaz Varela Bora Motorsport car will now be on 28. So we've gone from 1 point covering the top 3 to 11 points covering the top 2 in the space of a race.
Yeah, it's, as we saw, it's been a real change there with drivers coming up for 2nd. Oh, and you just saw a clip in the curb there, throwing everything they had. That's shooting there, but that's how close it was when they came out of the final corner. That's what half a second looks like, and just not close enough. And you have to say, Daniel Diaz Varela drove so well in those final few laps to hold off the pressure. And Manuel Cerqueda there celebrating with family and friends. And he was absolutely delighted with that one. Brilliant race once again in GT Cup Open Europe. It's been an absolutely fantastic race. Well, let's go through the top 3 who we're going to be seeing on the overall podium. De Martin and Villanueva, long-time race leaders, but in the end, 3rd place it is for them and a podium. 2nd place, once again, it's their favourite spot on the podium. It's Leutwiler and Bas Schouten who take 2nd, just half a second behind our race winners, and it's their first ever race win in GT Cup Open Europe. Daniel Diaz Varela and Manuel Cerqueda, your race winners. Let's go and hear from them now.
Manuel Cerqueda, Daniel Diaz Varela, perfect day at the Paul Ricard with pole position and victory, but it wasn't easy. The first stint very, very closely fought.
Yeah, yes, indeed. I know that on the exit with turbo engines Mercedes it would be hard, and it was. I got passed by 3 cars. I recovered 1 place with the Porsche, but then it was a very close fight with the Mercedes, but I couldn't pass him in my whole stint, so I was blocked behind. But well, at least I could give Danny the car in good position. Handicap helped us a little, and we did a really quick driver change. And well, and Danny did the rest of the job perfectly and took the car to the win.
Danny, a lot of pressure though in the final laps, huh?
Yeah, it was tight. We were looking into the difference between the Mercedes in front of us and the Porsche coming behind. I had to push a lot, and as you can see, I sweat the dinner and everything. But it was fun. I want to thank Manel, my teammate, Vaporo, Grupo Inducern, my family, everyone, we are very happy. It was excellent.
Well done, guys. Now podium. Enjoy.
GT Cup Open Europe round number 2 got underway here from Paul Ricard with Manuel Cerqueda leading from pole position, but it was Rafael Villanueva who would make it down to the first corner first, and in the background there the silver Mercedes to the right hand side of picture, Antonio Combra going from 4th to 2nd with a brilliant move going in to the first corner as the race got underway. There will be many victims throughout the race, one of them being out of Estante and Jean Font, 2 race winners from the first round, colliding with each other, and both of them would be out of the race as our pole sitters drop down the order, coming under pressure there from Nicky Luttweiler, who would make his way through to 3rd. But it would only be a brief spell in 3rd, as that would be Manuel Cerqueda going back through to take 3rd position, and then he went off in chase of the top 2. This was one of the other incidents that happened. I think we all know the person who caused that one, Cordoni, with a bad move, as then the pit stops took place, driver changes took over. Luis Silva would be the man to jump into the silver Mercedes. They would lose a place to Daniel Diaz-Varela in the pits, with their driver handicap being a little bit more. Then we had the 22 car, Bas Schuten, having taken over from Nicky Luttweiler, trying to make his way back through the field. This was a change of the lead. This was when Daniel Diaz-Varela went past Villanueva to get through into the lead of the race. But he would be chased down by Bas Schuten, but would do just enough to hold on to take his first overall victory in the championship alongside Manuel Cerqueda. A brilliant feeling of the 3 podiums last year. They take their first overall victory in GT Cup Open Europe. Well, let's get our drivers up on to the podium then. Brilliant result, the overall podium. You can see Alberto De Martin on the podium position. He took home to finish in 3rd place alongside Rafael Villanueva, Bas Schuten and Nicky Luttweiler to the left of screen there. And then in the middle of your picture, your race winners, Daniel Diaz-Varela and Manuel Cerqueda for Vapouro Motorsport, who have 2 wins to their name now this season. Podium complete for GT Cup Open Europe Race 1. We are going to do it all again tomorrow. We'll have qualifying at 40 minutes past 10 local time here in France, and race number 2 will be at 10 past 5. It's been a brilliant first race. Thank you for being with us in GT Cup Open Europe. We'll see you to do it all again tomorrow.